Hi everyone, and welcome to the Entrepreneur Success Stories with Listening Marketing, Episode 1. The show where we delve into the journeys of entrepreneurs, unveil the challenges they face, and discover the marketing strategy that have fueled their success. I'm Antonella Pekla, the CEO of the Risk-Free Marketing, and your host. Whether you're an entrepreneur,
a business owner, or visionary on the brink of launching your own venture, this is the podcast for you. In each episode, we will explore how marketing is a game changer in monetizing and scaling businesses of any size. Today, I'm thrilled to have Amir Meshel with us.
the dynamic force behind Aussie House Buyer, a company that helps professional couples buy their dream house in Australia as the buyer agent. Amir does that with a result guarantee, no additional commission, and no lucky contract. Are you excited? So hi Amir, could you please start with introducing yourself and giving us a bit of the overview of what you do and what your business does?
Hello, Tina. It is an absolute pleasure to be here. Look, I've been in the industry for about 2 decades now. It's kind of scary to say. A decade seems like a very, very long time. In property, things kind of change every 3 months, don't they?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I'm Amir from Aussie Coast House Buyer. The main thing that I've started niching down on is helping couples who are moving from a unit to a house make that big leap. Because being a renter, whether you're renting a house or renting a unit, and actually transforming to becoming a buyer, and then taking the extra step of being the owner, meaning not just buying but succeeding in the auction, that's sometimes overwhelming. But if you have somebody with experience to guide you along the way, it's not impossible. I tried to do the same for the clients that they would do for themselves, but at 10x the speed. Because in reality, everybody could buy their own house. But are you planning to use 3 months or 6 months to look and waste all of your time while the prices keep going up? Or are you going to use a professional who's a buyer's advocate to negotiate for you to find the house and to make sure you're getting the right value rather than letting your emotions take care of everything? So that's what I do as Aussie Coast House Buyer.
Oh, perfect. And then tell us a little bit about your journey as a business owner, how it all began, and give us a bit of overview about that. The beginning.
Right at the beginning.
Right at the beginning.
My ancestry is Polish. So my parents, my grandparents were born in Poland, but when my parents were teenagers, they left Poland. And I remember walking hand in hand with my grandfather in Bondi Junction, close to Bondi Beach, when my parents became house owners. And if you know a little bit about communist era Poland, nobody owned anything. Everything was either state-owned, and at the very most, you'd be a renter. So whether you're renting from the owner, the landlord, or from the government, most of the way of thinking in former Soviet Union, in Poland, was, hey, you don't need to really do, it'll be provided for you. Just keep working hard, everything will be okay. And when my grandfather came to Sydney, it was a very different story where my parents, and I mean...
When was it? Which year was it? Remember?
So we bought a house. I'll say we because I was at the auction, even though I was under 18. So we bought in 1986 the first house. And now you're making me feel old. Okay, all right. So back when I was young and dinosaurs roamed the earth.
Okay.
So we bought in 1986. And I was at the auction house. We bought in close to Bondi Beach. I was a kid.
Trying to guess your age. So you're just not giving me any clue.
No. When I was young, well, I remember the dinosaurs that still walked around. So.
Primary school, high school.
Let's not go there.
No.
Let's get back onto the house journey.
Okay.
So let me tell you about the auction.
Yeah.
We're in a room. It's an auction house. So it wasn't on the site of the house. Because the reality is that when my parents came to Australia, they came on a visa as skilled migrants. So they were both university educated. Actually, my mum, this is back in the 1960s and 70s, got 3 degrees. So coming to Australia, having 3 tertiary degrees, university degrees, was something that, especially in the 1960s and 70s, meant that as a woman, you were one of the most highly qualified people in the industry. My father was an electronics engineer, so both of them were university graduates. And the only type of house they could afford was one where the carpet was so old. I remember seeing the house. The carpet was so old that as you walk, you could smell the dust of every footprint. So every time you walked, a little bit of dust came off. And that's okay, because guess what? You can rip up the carpet and throw it away.
Of course.
I remember when my parents won the auction, and they ended up, I think of house prices now. You can't buy a house less than $1 million in Sydney. So they're kind of between 1 and 5 million is around 80% of the houses. My parents, when they bought the house at the auction I was at, and that was definitely my first auction that I ever went to, they bought a house for around $86,000. Not a unit, but a freestanding house. 86,000. Now it's $1 million. And I expect when my children buy their house, it'll be 10 million to 20 million. So I don't know, when you think about it, we used to think about, all these millionaires out there, but that's the minimum now. Now we talk about who's a deca millionaire, meaning 10 million, who's a centimillionaire, meaning 100 million.
It's very easy to be millionaire, isn't it? You have to be millionaire to survive.
Well, it just doesn't mean anything anymore. It used to be a big number.
No more population.
Now, if it doesn't start with a B, hey, I'm not getting out of bed for less than $1 billion a day. Okay, maybe not exaggerate, just a little bit.
Thank you for sharing that story.
And what's the story behind funding your own business as a buyer agent?
Well, that's the thing.
Was it that the motivation for you? The whole story of the fact that you couldn't own a house in your own country, they came here and you bought a first house. And was it one of the biggest motivation for you to start your own business as a buyer agent?
That's a very good question, Tina.
Yeah.
I think part of it, maybe. I think when my grandfather was telling me about the security, the safety of owning something rather than being kicked out of a house because the landlord or the government has decided to renovate and capitalize on the new price increase, or even if there's been a flood or a hailstorm and you get moved out because it needs repairs, there's nothing like having the security, especially if you pay insurance for your home insurance, of just knowing stability-wise, you're next to the school your kid's going to go to, stability-wise, if something goes wrong, you might go to a hotel or rent for 3 weeks and then come back. Security and safety really...
strong motivation for you because you always had that sense of fear that, house wanted, just wanted to go into that industry, and locking has been properties.
Well, it's interesting, and I think you're right. I think a lot of people go from a position of fear.
Yeah.
I went the other way. I went from a position of stability. I thought of it as Abraham Maslow talks about a hierarchy of needs, and the basic need is shelter. So not that hypothetically I'd like to change the world and fight for this. The really basic need is shelter. Wow. So for me, it was more not the fear but the gain, not the pain but the gain. My father was ripping up that smelly, dusty carpet. He was, Dad was an engineer, but he was dressed in jeans and a T-shirt, pulling up all this carpet. And being the small child that I was, I asked him, Dad, why did you buy this house? It's so old and it smells here. I don't like it. Dad said, Amirush, this carpet will be gone in 2 hours, but we will always be this close to Bondi Beach.
That's true. You never can change your location, can you?
No. Once you buy something in a location, you're there.
It's a very good lesson.
You can renovate. Exactly. You can, 20 years later, you can knock down and build something brand new. But it's not about the state of the carpet. It's not about the color of the door. It's about the location.
Wow. Such a good point. That's something that you try to, when you consult the couples, that location is very important. These things could be changed later, and with your weight testers, that's something you emphasize because some people don't think about it properly. They just want to have a dream house that's got 4 bedrooms, 2 levels, fancy windows and backyard and all of that. Is that something that you should try to advise someone on?
Tina, as you're saying this, and maybe this is part of the hazards of being a buyer's advocate, you're saying this, and mentally, I'm taking note of what's your dream house. I'm thinking, okay, so Tina wants 5 bedrooms, fancy windows. I've got a good memory, so I remember that. Okay, but yes.
I already have one in a house with that, so maybe the future dream house.
Yes, so the the idea of starting a business was ingrained in me a long time ago. And the only bit of luck you ever get are who your birth parents are. So having parents that were great role models in that they went to uni, they were educated, and then they advanced me to, when I was 16, I was listening to Robert Kiyosaki. I was reading books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant when I was 17. That really is a bit of luck, because reality is some people are born in the middle of Africa in a village. They don't have electricity. They don't have lots of schools, lots of universities, lots of jobs. And so wherever you're born into that country, that city, that farm, that's luck. But what you do with it depends on if you've got access to internet and you've got these great models online, or if you've got access to somebody in your own city and you're coming up with great ideas because you're getting mentoring and coaching. And potentially once you've started down the path, you meet somebody great like a Tina, and then you start down the marketing idea and you start publicizing, advertising and marketing your company. That's when things flip, because getting support from, especially risk-free support, that's just magic. So Tina, I'd love to hear a little bit. No, I'm your guest here, but you know what I loved about what I heard from you last week? Tina has started a risk-free advertising company and niching on the marketing side, because advertising might be buying space. Marketing is how you get heard. I'd love to hear more about that. Do you have a few seconds to let me know?
Yeah, just very quickly. So the risk-free marketing came out of the audio coach J.T. Fox. So he's been the biggest influence for me. And I speak to him and I said, okay, this is what I do, this is the experience that I have. And he said, what is your unique selling proposition? I said that I do provide money back guarantee, which no one else does. And he said that that's quite strong. Why not we turn that unique selling proposition into a business name? And I absolutely love it. So they are changing risk-free marketing, and since then I'm just being bombarded with messages and emails from people that want to do risk-free marketing. So you provide money back guarantee. So I take 200 quality leads in the first 2 months. If you don't get it, I'll go for free until you get it. Basically, that's how business works. We'll dig into it a bit later. Just want to know more about you today, because you're my guest. So could you please explain some of the most significant challenges that you faced when you started the business and then you were in the growing phase?
Well, I started when I was at uni, working during the summer holidays. So I was studying electrical engineering at the University of New South Wales. And on my weekend, my Saturday and Sunday, I became the assistant manager of a petrol station. So I worked all day Saturday, all day Sunday. I used to come in at 5 a.m., get into the ute and drive. We used to rent 5 utes out, drive around the other petrol stations to make sure that we were the lowest petrol price around. Do you remember the olden days when nothing was digital? So I used to go around from 5 different local petrol stations, check their prices, and then I'd go up a 10-meter ladder up. This is in Bondi Junction. Climb a 10-meter ladder in the wind in Bondi Junction, just trying with that piece of plastic to slide it in with the new prices. But I always had a great work ethic. So it wasn't 20 hours a week or 30, it was 30 hours a week of studying plus 20 hours of work. I did a 16-hour shift on the weekends. And
I used to do the same.
Did you?
I used to study full-time, 4 subject semester, and work full-time as well. Because as an international student, I wasn't allowed to do part-time. So yeah, I was working 6 days a week basically. It was so challenging.
Wow.
So, but my biggest achievement, so I'm always proud of it when I look back. Because I also graduated with my distinction from the university.
I'm not surprised. I've known you for long enough to not be surprised by your brains. I know that.
Yeah.
So one thing I noticed, though, was when I was in the workforce. So I started working in head office for a large company that's on the Australian Stock Exchange. And behind my office, so the office directly next to me, was the CEO of the company. And that CEO was worth $320 million. Now, remember, this is back in the day when dinosaurs roamed the earth. So that's worth $1 billion now. So my mentor, my coach, the person who made sure that I got my job done, was a billionaire.
Right.
And I noticed that their family business, their trust and their real estate property development came not from the business they were running, which was retail, but at the same time they were investing in the locations, which were hot locations, that they rented back to the company that I was working at.
Yeah.
So when they sold their company as CEO, they listed on the Australian Stock Exchange. After a few years, they left that company and sold part of their shares. a lot of their money remained with their family trust, even though they sold the company. So sometimes it's important to have not just mentors of your parents, but other billionaire mentors like JT Fox that you're mentoring with at the moment. So where did I learn that? How did I keep my ear to the ground? Well, the next company, so I spent about 5 years there, and the next company that I went through to was another large Australian company that I was one of their managers in another Australian stock exchange listed company. And I was running one of their stores. Now, this is public information, so I'm not sharing anything that's kept quiet. That store was turning over $10 million a year. That was the store I was managing.
Yeah.
So what that meant was I was working for them 50 hours a week. And on my weekends, my spare time, I was spending about 4 hours a week researching real estate and buying real estate on auction. And I did that sometimes during my lunch break. I sat in my car, put the Bluetooth on, and bid in the car during my lunch break. So I always timed my lunch break to be 5 minutes before the auction started, because auctions go for about 10 minutes. They're not a very long process.
So
And I actually purchased a few.
business while you had a full-time job.
Yes, as
That's
we all
how it
do.
started.
You know why? Because if you quit your full-time job, then the bank says you can't get a home loan, you can't get a mortgage.
Yeah.
So I worked full-time.
Yeah.
My partner worked full-time. And then in my spare time, during my lunch break, during evenings, I researched. During my lunch break, I made the bids. So, and on my days off, I drove to properties, I inspected them, I took lots of photos, I came back and I put a list of questions to my solicitor to make sure the contract stacks up.
Right.
So always do things with professionals. Don't try to cut corners and just get lucky. It doesn't work that way. But yeah, I found that in 4 hours a week, I was making more money than working 50 hours a week for somebody else's business, making them $10 million a year. So I started my own business, and then my part-time side hustle became my full-time. Now I work full-time as a buyer's advocate and buyer's agent. And what I love about what you've done, probably work less hours now than I did before. So I'm doing about 25 to 30 hours a week. So I still get to go to nightclub and fun stuff. But whenever I'm working, I've now got a balance in my work life. Every time I'm working. No, back then, because I was working full-time for somebody else. I love about what you've done with your business. You've got a guarantee. So where we flipped, where my business took off, is when I knew all the other real estate agents charge commission, maybe 3% commission to sell a house. The buyer's agents, also buyer's advocates, they also charge about 3% commission to buy a house.
Yeah, that's right.
We're the ones that in Australia, we do one thing that I haven't seen anywhere else. We do 3 guarantees. One is we do a service level agreement of 90 days. We expect to win within 90 days, 3 months for our clients.
Yeah.
As long as they're qualified. So when we interview them, we make sure that they're not trying to buy something that's impossible to buy.
Don't mess around. You just get you locked in 90 days, you find your dream house.
We do exactly what everybody else does, just 10 times the speed.
Yeah.
The second thing is we've got a guarantee of you can pull out at any time. So you start with us a week later, you say, you know what, I'm going to take leave to start a family. We just found out we're expecting a baby. We just got a promotion and we're being flown to Germany to be the new CFO for a new company. Whatever happens, whether it's political, whether it's a great thing or a bad thing, some people just start the buying journey and then change their mind and pull out. We've got a no lock-in contract. So after 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, you're not locked into our buyer's advocacy company for 6 months. At any stage, you ring us, send us an email and say, hey, look, we'd like to stop buying now. We respond to you saying, yes, we'll stop your program. And there's no lock-in contract. You only pay month by month and 0 commission. We're the only buyer's advocacy that charges 0 commission. Why? Because if you think about the type of properties, the houses, they're between 1 and 5 million. So the deposits that people have been saving hard for 6 months, for 2 years, for 5 years, maybe they've saved 200,000, 300,000. If you think of just 3% on a $3 million property, that's $90,000 in fees that you pay your buyer's advocate. We charge 0 commission. So it's very low month by month.
Basically. And doesn't matter that what value property they buy?
As long as it's in that $1 million to $5 million mark, it's all within that month by month flat rate. The third guarantee, so the first one is no lock-in contract. The second one is the 90-day service level agreement. And if we can't find you what we promised you on the first assignment, when we first spoke about what we're getting for you, within 3 months, we continue working for you free of charge for the next 9 months, negotiating on one house every month for 12 months. The third guarantee, and I've never seen this anywhere else, is that yes, there's no lock-in contract. Yes, you can pull out at any time. Yes, we're not exclusive, so you can go to a different buyer's agency, you can do it yourself, or you can just pull out of the market.
You basically guarantee the result that you find in your dream house.
That's right.
It's the same as my business model. Like if they don't get the second result, I work for them for free until they do it, whatever it takes. If it takes 6 months, 3 months, 12 months, so that's basically result driven.
Absolutely, results driven and guaranteed.
Yeah.
And the third thing is that because we say for 3 months we're working on this, it's a 90-day guarantee, 90-day service level agreement.
Yeah.
Your cap is going to be just 3 times the monthly fee.
Yeah.
So if you're investing with us for a month and you find a house in just 2 weeks, you don't pay for month 2 or month 3.
Yeah, okay. So you basically pay for the first month. Okay.
Can I give you a real life example?
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Last Wednesday.
Yeah.
So we're recording this. You might be watching this 6 months down the track, but we are recording this on the 1st of November. Yesterday, last night was Halloween, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
My customer on Wednesday, exactly 7 days ago, engaged us. So there are a couple who have been renting in Randwick, and the testimonials on my website, so go and have a look. But great couple, they know exactly what they want. They want semi in Randwick. They engaged our company Wednesday 4 p.m. So practically Thursday morning,
Yeah.
Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Within 6 days, we sent something like 25 to 30,000 emails.
Speed of implementation.
Completely.
It's so quick.
We researched 50 properties that were similar to the ones that they described. They had a very tight circle saying it must be walking distance from Randwick Girls High School to the house they're buying because they want to take their child, they want to walk the child to school. So as you can imagine, there's only 8 properties advertised in Australia that fit that circle. And they had a budget of $2 million. So my database has around 37,000 people on my regular database.
Yeah.
Of those, around 15,600 are real estate agents that they want to talk to me. They want to sell their property. They want to advertise their properties through our agency. And then there's the buyers. So we have a big database of people that maybe in the next 10 years want to buy something. We sent emails out. We contacted through Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, but it is one of the portals that we can, and sent out this thing saying, hey, this is what my client wants. We recorded videos. We sent little snippets of 1-minute videos to real estate agents that are really busy because we're looking for an off-market property. Within 6 days, we succeeded. Last night for Halloween, we bought the house that they asked us to buy within 6 days. And just in the first 2 days, we already made an offer, a written offer on that house with a signed contract that went through their lawyers with a 66W and no cooling off period because we knew it was about to come to auction. And guess what? There's very few properties that match everything. But the couple succeeded in 6 days. So testimonials on our website. But hey, 6 days instead of 60 days. If we can do something for you 10 times faster, you're still getting the same result, but why wait 2 years as the price moves up every month? It's not just the speed, it's the money you're saving by owning a house much earlier. The biggest difference isn't in the result, it's in the speed. 10 times the implementation speed.
That's a very good lesson for everyone that listens to this, that when you're starting a business, have a business, you need to think about your Unix selling position. And as you can see, Amir did the great study of this competition, and he found out what the Unix selling they're not doing, and then he turned what they're not doing, their weaknesses into his strength, which is his Unix selling position. He said that speed of implementation, that he's not charging any commission, and then in the first month, if you find a house, you don't have to pay. So that's very strong. And then this is so amazing. So you study a competition, you know exactly what you do. Just in the marketing perspective, so how do you approach the marketing for your business? How do you get the leads or that couple, how do they come through? Just tell us a little bit about your marketing strategies since you started. It's not from the beginning and
Well, Lewis and Faye are the couple that succeeded yesterday. So congratulations, Lewis and Faye. Them about 3 months ago. As I've met you, Atina, as well, I go to several networking events. I make sure that I'm a human and I speak to other humans because everything in front of the computer is a start.
Speaking with people. You keep a bit in right brain there, so that's one of your strengths.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Tina. So yeah, if I'm at an event, I make sure that I talk to people and find out who they are, not because I'm hunting for new clients, but because I genuinely love helping other people and they love helping me. I love hearing what's missing in somebody's connected network and introducing them to somebody like yourself that has the skills that they don't have. A lot of the stuff that people don't realize is big companies like Apple. It's not Steve Jobs. It's Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs. A lot of big companies like Disney and Pixar. Pixar didn't become magic just because Steve Jobs bought part of George Lucas's Lucasfilm. It was a combination of the three people that came in. Yes, Steve Jobs was the one making the decisions on the board, but it was a group of three that completely revolutionized Toy Story. Oh my God. How revolutionary was that? But it wasn't just one person, it's always a team.
Yeah.
You can't be everything to everyone. I'm a very niche person that I only do property buying. I don't sell houses. I don't do property management. I'm a buyer's agent. I'm a buyer's advocate.
That's important in marketing. If you need to find a niche, what your niche is. You always need to have a niche. If you don't have a niche, then you basically do marketing to no one. You're no one, because you can't just market to everyone. Just a lesson for everyone that listens to this podcast. So Amir chose a niche for his business, and he was successful because of that. So in terms of the marketing, so you get a lot of the leads through the organic marketing, which is basically going to networking events and stuff. So would you like to explain a little bit about how you approach the people and then how that you end up to get the strategy call with them? I guess so just so everyone can learn about how you could actually get leads through the networking and going to the free events and paid events and all of that. So.
Well, from Fox 4 years ago, one of the things that JT Fox said was brand yourself. Make sure that you're recognizable. So I went shopping. I bought 10 black button-down shirts, 10 gold ties, and 3 gold bow ties. When I'm working, I'm in this uniform. No, it's not one of his, but yes. I bought that locally in Australia. Yeah. And
his ones look similar too. It's just a no pattern similar. I mean,
you know, I do have a JT Fox tie. I've got 2 of them.
Yeah.
So I have.
He's not a tie person, though, but
I have a pink JT Fox, and I have a Sunday Gold JT Fox tie.
But you always put on the gold one. Is this part of your branding? Speaking about branding, because we just did the branding. Is it part of your branding in yellow?
Black and yellow, yes, because of the bees. So
so the B is your branding.
It's my acronym.
Right.
So I published.
What does it mean?
Hey, I published books 3 years ago.
Yeah.
There's 9 of them, and each one's on a different part of real estate, and they're all part of the Where's the Bees blueprint. So it's a workshop, and Bees is BES as an acronym. I won't go into what it means. Read the books. Hey, buy my books on Amazon. Sorry, had to do a plug there. Blueprint is where the acronym started, and where, from a branding point of view, we started with 3D Tree, Where's the Bees Blueprint, and the gold and black, which are a specific color yellow and a specific black. Well, not really a specific black, black is black. That became what I wear when I'm on stage, what I wear when I'm answering questions on a podcast. Yeah. And now I'm finding, because of the last 4 years of implementing what JT Fox told me in 2019, when I'm on a train, when I'm on a light rail, when I'm on an aeroplane, when I'm at Virgin Lounge, I'm sitting down at the Virgin Business Lounge, somebody approaches me and goes, I know you. I can't remember where from, but I know you. You're that buyer's agent, aren't you? And of course, yes. Hey, let's link up on LinkedIn. Let's join on. I get noticed, not by my face, but what I'm wearing.
Yeah.
But what that means is if I want a work-life balance and I want to take time off, all I need to do is change into a T-shirt and I'm not recognizable anymore. So when I'm in uniform, I'm working. When I'm on the beach or in the park and I'm in shorts and a T-shirt, I don't need to work. I'm just relaxing. So it's a good balance where you're not always thinking work.
So do you think that part of your success as branding is the color? You reckon that's part of it?
Consistency. Consistency is part of it, not color, because it doesn't matter what color you pick.
Yeah.
But when they see you on stage with Anthony Robbins, when they see me on stage with Gary Goggins, when they see me on stage with Ethan Donati, with JT Fox, they recognize there's brand recognition to the big brands, and they go, hey, there's that guy with the gold tie.
Oh, wow, that's very powerful. And then just go back to the question about the networking event. So when you network and then turn into a customer by going to the networking event and be that Just give a little bit of the explanation about how you do it, and everyone can learn from you.
I help people. So somebody says, hey, I'm starting a new plumbing business. I introduce them to somebody like Atina that's very good at doing the marketing. So there's somebody who's a specialist plumber, or somebody who's a construction, but their niche in construction is building multi-level housing. So we're talking about 10 floors or above that require special fire department authorization to go higher than normal lifts and all that kind of very, very specialist niche stuff. They have this business-to-business model, and they're talking to the same kind of customers. But networking means you connect somebody with a need with somebody who's got the answer. My network now is roughly 100,000 people that I know reasonably well, or that know me reasonably well.
Why 100,000 people?
About 100,000 people. I think about 40 of them are on LinkedIn.
You're on the way to become a celebrity, right?
I'm not trying to be a celebrity, but I do enjoy connecting people. So when I find somebody who's a musician, I connect them with a music school teacher. When I find somebody who's in construction, I connect them
and
with
then
the
you build
buyers.
that friendship and trust with them. I guess when you help them, it's just the one thing that we do in marketing. You just need to give, and ask. You build that relationship, build that trust with them, you become friends, and then that's how you actually end up, knowing you as authority in your field and always remember you. So when they want to buy a house, they come to you.
True.
I guess that's a way of,
Well, really, I work in a high-ticket field. So people don't buy a house every 6 months. They tend to buy maybe 3 times in the space of 15 years. So when they know, like, and trust me, they see my results and they actually explore, because people don't make a rash decision. It's not like they wake up and they go, hey, we must buy a house. They research me. They check out the recommendations on LinkedIn. So there's a space to say, do you recommend this person? How have you worked with them before? So they really, they look at my social media. They get the social proof to make sure that I'm trustworthy, that I've done this before, that I am who I say I am. Once they research and they know that I am the correct person to help them, they check whether I do the suburbs they like. So my team now specialises in the East Coast, from Noosa in Queensland to Sydney, Wollongong and Newcastle, around the Sydney area in New South Wales, and the Geelong to Sorrento Beach, Mornington Peninsula in Melbourne. So Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, Sunshine Coast, Gold Coast, all the best areas, but we've niched to just coastal suburbs. So I don't do inland, I don't do Penrith, Parramatta, but I do the coast, all the most beautiful beaches in Australia. And after 2 decades, we've got connections in 742 suburbs.
Oh, wow.
Which is why it only takes 6 days to do what somebody else takes 60 days. Because we don't start at the beginning. We already have those connections. We just make the phone calls. My team and I make more phone calls, more emails, more videos, more connections, more inspections, more options than somebody who's working a full-time job. Because this is what we do Monday to Sunday. We're available to actually spend half an hour here and an hour there.
That's what you want to run your business to, like a coffee and shutdown, and then you're always available. And I remember the first time I met you, we did actually call together to consider options, and then I saw like calendars and I looked at and I was like, this guy really work. Wow, I don't work as much. You want your own ministerial position.
Yeah.
The availability.
I aim towards working 24/7. What do I mean by that? Everybody asks me, what do I mean by 24/7? Does that mean you're trying to automate? No, I actually mean the opposite. I want to work 24 hours a week, 7 months a year. So you think, well, if you're running your own business, how does that work? So I don't mind doing 6 days during 1 week and doing 4-hour shifts, because 4 times 6 is 24 on most planets. So 24 hours a week. But if I'm working 6 days a week, I normally take Tuesday off or Wednesday off. It means I'm available when my clients that are busy professionals, they've been married for 5 years or more. They're in the same industry for 5 years. They graduated from uni more than 5 years ago. So they've got stable relationships, stable education, stable marriage. They're hiring me because they're busy saving lives. They're busy doing big accounting spreadsheets for the top 100 companies. They're busy doing the orthotics for people that need the orthotics straight away, and they're curing cancer. They're not people who are like absolutely devoted to real estate, absolutely devoted to waking up at 7 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday and going to 15 auctions. They're not those people. That's what my team does. That's what we're passionate about. But from their perspective, they love what they do, which means that they're outsourcing the stuff that's my habit, my normal, because I do that more efficiently, rather than them trying to reinvent the wheel and starting to catch up, trying to build the database of 15,600 real estate agents, trying to build up a database of saying, well, we've got 15 inspections, we're going to zigzag this way. We've got that plan because we've been doing it for 2 decades.
No, that's impressive. We only have 2 left, Amir. We're just going to do the last question. So, reflecting on your journey, is there any lesson that you learned that you would love to pass it to the people that are watching this episode that want to start a business or they already started a business, they don't know how to scale? Do you have any advice, anything that you want to share to finish off?
I think the biggest thing I've learned here at Fishburners, I'm working in an area where in my office there's 200 different companies.
Yeah.
My biggest fear when I first started, I've been here for over a year, my biggest fear was that if I tell people what I'm doing, somebody will copy me and try to do the same
I
concept.
used to have that mentality too. I know I just go share with the world what I do, what I do. I come up with ideas to share with everyone. I'm not afraid of sharing because the world hasn't changed, isn't it? I know you just go and
Absolutely.
share it.
So this is what I found. At first, I felt that somebody was going to steal my ideas. So I held some back. The really, really big concepts that were like wow, nobody's ever done this before. I told my team and I said, hey, one-on-one when we speak to clients, we're going to tell them. But I never put it on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, because I was afraid somebody else in my field that isn't doing the zero commissions, that isn't doing a no locking contract, that isn't doing the cap of doing 3 months and that's it. Somebody would just use it. Why wouldn't somebody else take the great idea and just spend their marketing money on it? But what I found was that meant that my best ideas were shared only one-on-one with 20 people a month, rather than one-to-many with 20,000 people a month. What I realized now, what I found, was that when you come up with the idea and you implement straight away and you test it on a live audience, you get pushback on one part of the idea that actually wasn't that good. You actually get feedback from a live audience that are your real spenders, that are the real customers that are going to use your service, that are going to use your product. If you don't test it, it takes you much longer to find out what's going wrong. If you implement it straight away, yes, somebody's going to try to copy you, but you've got the head start and you've got the work ethic and you've got the energy because it's your idea. So if you're serious, just work at it, put it out to the public. The right people will come along, and if somebody tries to steal it, it doesn't matter. Because when somebody wants to go fishing, they find where the fish are. So if you're selling mobile phones, you'll find that there's a Telstra shop, an Optus shop, a Vodafone shop right next to each other. It's not that they're scared of competition, but everybody knows, the public knows that the mobile phone shops are right next to each other. That's the same with buyers agencies and buyers advocates. They know that I'm not the only buyers advocate. I'm the best one, but they know that I'm not the only one. And so I'm not scared of other buyers advocates saying, hey, we are the best, because they can say that. And then they get a real comparison between me and my team, what we do, compared to other buyers agents. So we're attracting the people that are actually buying, aren't tie kickers, but are looking for the service as outsourcers.
Thank you so much. Thank you for taking time today. That was a pleasure. And yes, this is the episode 1, and we're going to have episode 2 next Wednesday. So watch out. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina.